ESPN, the world's leader in motorsports television, presents Speed World.
These are some of the fastest men in the world. For 12 punishing hours, they will hurtle themselves in everything from MGBs to Ferraris around a 5-mile race circuit. For some, it will be nothing more than a 1,000-mile drive. For others, an important class victory. For a handful, a chance to unseat the indomitable Ferraris. Sebring, then, is many races within itself. But for all, it's the 12-hour grind.
Hello, everyone. I'm Dave Despain. Welcome to another edition of the Glory Days, a cavalcade of great races and great racers from decades past. From the very beginning, the 12 Hours of Sebring has ranked as perhaps the toughest test of automobile reliability anywhere in the world of motorsports. Yes, the race is only half as long as Le Mans or Daytona, but the course is brutally rough. In 1964, Sebring pitted American ingenuity against Italian domination. Cobra and Corvette versus Ferrari. It was a battle for national honor and world championship points. Les Kiter and Chris Economaki covered the story.
The countdown for Saturday's race begins early in the week in the quiet town of Sebring. While the residents pursue their normal pastimes, the racers present themselves for inspection. Every car in the race must comply. MGBs, brand new Porsche 904s. All are checked for adherence to safety standards and regulations governing their class, including minimum luggage space. Shelby's Cobras, led by the number 10 Daytona Coupe, cause a stir as they move through inspection. Shelby wants Ferrari's World Grand Touring title. A win at Sebring, coupled with his points from Daytona, would put Shelby ahead in the point standings. To do it, he's mustered a 4-car factory team, augmented by 6 privately owned Cobras. In the prototype class, only the Corvette Grand Sports are given a chance at the Ferraris. Roger Penske and Jim Hall are driving this one. A.J. Foyt and John Cannon will handle the Mecum Team Corvette. The reigning Ferraris, they dominate the prototype class with 2 4-liter and 2 3.3-liter cars. The number 31 3-liter GT is Shelby's only real factory challenge for the GT title. As Ferrari seems bent on winning instead, the Challenge Mondial awarded for Sebring, Le Mans, Targa Florio, and Nürburgring. And now to practice. Just 3 practice sessions to become familiar with and adjust the car to Sebring's 5.2-mile course. For 12 hours, the Ferraris, Cobras, Porsches, MGBs, Sprites, Corvettes will tear over this combination of airport runway and blacktop road. With 3 straights of almost a mile and some 13 turns, the big cars will range from 180 miles an hour to 30 miles an hour. 12 grueling hours on brakes, transmissions, engines, and drivers. And as Surtees in a Ferrari prototype knocks 5 seconds off the course record he set last year, and Shelby's newest Cobra, Bob Holbert's Daytona Coupe, slashes the GT course record, National Speed Sports News editor Chris Economaki talks with the drivers. Graham Hill, Ferrari prototype.
It's a very, very good car, very good machine. Whether, of course, they're going to be reliable with this extra horsepower, we shall just have to wait and see.
Dan Gurney, Cobra.
As far as GT Ferraris go, we have them whipped on lap times right now.
Roger Penske, Corvette Grand Sport.
We'd really like to blow the Cobras off, to be honest with you.
Bob Julius, an SECA National Class Champion, here in the smallest car in the race. What satisfaction you get out of participating in the race?
Well, I think it relates simply to the competitive spirit involved in the whole thing, and it's quite possible, of course, to win Index and also the class champion.
Bob Holbert, Cobra Coupe.
Well, we got high hopes of being able to beat the Ferrari, all right.
A.J. Foyt, Corvette Grand Sport.
Well, really, I think, Chris, that I can outrun the Cobras with the lightweight Stingray.
Joe Bonnier, Ferrari Prototype.
I think, as I started to say, it'd be great for motor racing if American cars could beat the Ferraris once. Though, of course, I'd like to win the race in the Ferrari this time.
All the boys ready themselves. It's race morning. Only the final seconds of the countdown remain.
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4.
They've broken on 5, earlier than they've ever jumped the gun before. Penske gets away just in front of Holbert. Ferraris lead the pack into the first turn. Surtees leads Rodriguez, Gurney, and Penske into the S's just in front of the famous Sebring first lap traffic jam. It's Rodriguez ahead down Warehouse Straight, but he can't make the turn. Surtees moves into the lead through Webster, Penske second. Rodriguez struggles back, but has dropped several places. McKelvey's Abarth is too deep into the turn, and he's not as lucky as Rodriguez. It's Surtees and Penske on the back straight. Look at Penske move. Penske's Corvette is by Surtees' Ferrari through the timer stand turn, and the young automobile executive takes the lead as they complete the first lap. Paddy Hopkirk's left rear tire is blown. He just manages to keep control. Through the S's for the second lap, and Penske is surprising everyone. Bill McKelvey's got a backbreaking job and in a dangerous spot. And now the Ferraris are double-teaming Penske. Surtees snatches the lead on the timer's turn. But Penske holds off Rodriguez and passes the start line in second place. Here's the first Shelby Cobra running sixth with Dan Gurney at the wheel. Rodriguez has caught Penske on the turn and is now second to Surtees as they streak through the S's toward the hairpin. Rodriguez flat out passes Surtees heading into Webster. This is where he lost it on the first lap, but he's safely by. And it's Rodriguez, Surtees, Hill, Penske, and Scarpiotti through Webster. But starter Jesse Coleman has the black flag out for Pedro. Surtees inherits the lead as Rodriguez is forced to report to his pit. Rodriguez seems trouble-prone today. His rear tire loosened when he missed the Webster turn, fell out on the track. A new one's wired in, but he's precious seconds behind. More of the race in a moment. Ferraris have assumed their expected prominence now. Surtees leads, followed by Hill and the other four leader. Then Parks in the 3.3-liter Ferrari number 22, followed by Scarfiotti. Underwood Porsche 904 is well at the top of the 2-liter machinery. Just behind is the half-sharp 904 and the number 43 Jennings Wester Porsche. Joe Bazzetta's Porsche Le Mans is just behind its twin. More trouble for Rodriguez, and this time it looks final. An erratic fan belt and assorted engine difficulties take Pedro from the race and team manager Luigi Cinetti's hopes along with him. Shelby's token entry in the prototype class, a standard Cobra stuffed with a huge 7-liter engine, hasn't been right since driver Ken Miles had an accident with it during practice. But the Gurney Johnson Cobra is running beautifully. First in Grand Touring and staying there with no trouble, handling well and showing great speed on the straights. In the number 10 Cobra, right behind Gurney and running second Grand Touring, 5th overall, is Bob Holbert. The U.S. road racing champ is driving according to plan. Well up in GT and easy on the car. Surtees and Hill solidify their overall lead. Meantime, Chuck Castle moves his number 45 Abarth Carrera into the running in GT Division 2. The tiny 1-liter Renault Alpine, smallest car in the race, is in the same division as the Ferraris. The factory Alfa Romeo team with a 3-car entry hopes for a GT Division 2 win, although outpowered by the rival Porsches. The Leslie Dalton MGB, also running against the Porsches, is several laps behind now. Tom O'Brien's Ferrari is ablaze on the back of the course. He tells what happened.
As I dove out of the car and rolled on the ground, I never thought I'd have presence of mind to do that. All the fire equipment had come and had failed to put the fire out. We got about 30 gallons of gas on board.
The Cunningham Underwood Porsche 904 has been trouble-free, but at a power disadvantage to the Ferraris and Cobras. Likewise, Buzetta's number 42 Le Mans Carrera running first in GT Division 2. Castle's number 45 Abarth Carrera takes a sprite at the hairpin where there's plenty of action. The Stoddard Caser Alfa Romeo has been a steady 4th in class. Third overall is Mike Parks in the 3.3-liter Ferrari. Parks, formerly a technician with Roots Motors in England, is now technical director for Ferrari in Italy, as well as team driver. He's competing here for his first major race victory. The Daytona Cobra is in. McDonald surrenders the car to Holbert, but not before some air conditioning is provided. Both men complained of the hot cockpit, but McDonald had unusual trouble.
I can't keep my feet on the pedals. It gets pretty hot down there. I have to get some kind of shoe to keep the heat off. When I went out first, I used the wrong kind of shoes, and it burnt the bottom of my feet, and now they get sore pretty easy. You know, the shoes I have are all right, except the bottom of my feet are already burned a little. It doesn't seem to be bothering Bob so bad.
The Penske Hall Corvette has settled down. After a spectacular dash at the opening, Penske is content to stay in the top 10, running behind Gurney and Holbert.
As the 1964 running of the 12 Hours of Sebring thundered through the late afternoon, the Cobras of Dan Gurney and Bob Holbert were 1st and 2nd in class, 5th and 6th overall. And the Cobra contingent had one more ace to play. American driving legend Phil Hill standing by in the pits. But before the long run into the night was over, the front-running Ferraris and the American challengers would both hit trouble. We rejoin the action with just such a moment for Roger Penske and his Corvette.
Penske and Hall have trouble. Their mechanics are taking a half shaft from a stock Corvette in back of their pit. The half shaft broke while Penske was out on the course. According to the rules, he must walk back with the needed parts with a pit steward along to see that his mechanic does no more than advise as Penske makes his own repairs. It'll be an hour and a half delay. The overall Grand Touring Division race is all Cobra at the moment. The Gurney Johnson car is first GT, uncontested. A solid fourth overall behind the Ferraris. Running second GT now is the number 14 Cobra with Phil Hill and French champion Joe Schlesser driving. And Shelby, with his car's 1, 2, 3 GT, doesn't want anyone burning them up. Shelby's Ferrari opposition in Grand Touring is a factory entry driven by Carlo Abate and Luigi Cinetti's GTO driven by Piper, Gamino, and now Rodriguez. But both are overpowered by the larger engine Cobras. The race drones on. 15 of the 66 starters have dropped out. And now Phil Hill is in the pits. Scheduled to drive the prototype Cobra, he was moved to number 14 with Schlesser and helped put it in 6th place overall. Two of the Renault Alpines are still running. The third is retired with transmission trouble. The Leslie Dalton MGB, a little deep into the hairpin, now stands third in class. Joe Buzetta has his Porsche first in GT Division 2 now. And the Bondurant Spencer Cobra is beginning to move through the pack after its teammates. The 8-cylinder prototype Porsche was doing well until an extended pit stay with clutch trouble. A.J. Foyt's trying to catch up too. After passing 50 cars on the first lap, he ran into an extended brake pad change. He's now 10th overall. Up front, the Hill-Bonnier 4-liter Ferrari has taken the lead from Surtees late in the afternoon. The Surtees Bandini car, 2 laps behind at this point, presses after the lead Ferrari. But the lead Ferrari has trouble. Hill is barely moving as he comes into pit alley. And the trouble looks permanent. Hill tells about it.
Vibrating rather badly under acceleration, and then just now coming past the pits, it let go altogether, and there was a horrible grating.
A close call at the hairpin. And Surtees is moving. Just behind, the second and third place Ferraris are in it hammer and tong, as Parks in the number 22 Ferrari tries to take the lead from Scarpiati in the twin number 23. The sun slipping lower as the long day's journey turns toward nightfall and the dangerous final hours of the race. Shelby's Cobras are still running soundly. The Gurney Johnson car is now 4th overall, first Grand Touring.
Night racing, always a spectacle. Exciting for the fans, sometimes terrifying for the drivers. The 64 running of Sebring was marred by fire, perhaps the racers' greatest fear. And the outcome was decided by a typical bit of Ferrari manipulation in the pits, ensuring that the right man won. To bring us the late race action and the post-race thoughts of the winners, let's go back to Les Kiter and Chris Economaki.
The protective headlight covers used during daylight have been taken off. Lights are on now as night settles quickly and lap time slows somewhat. Bandini has brought the lead car into the pits. Flickering taillights and a brake change, a perennial Ferrari weakness, make this the third nighttime stop and drops the 4-liter car to third place. Taking over first, Scarpiati Vaccarella with a Parks Maglioli Ferrari just behind. Less than an hour to go. Ferraris 1, 2, 3 overall. The Gurney Johnson 4th overall, first GT. There's been a crash. Johnson, driving the number 11 Cobra, has hit an Alfa Romeo at the far end of the pits. The Alfa, apparently in trouble, was barely moving in one of the speed lanes. Johnson, who said he saw the Alfa only at the last second, turned over, but is okay. The Alfa driver, Consalvo Senesi, was pulled from his flaming car by Renault driver Giacomo. He's badly burned, but will be all right. Caution flag is out as the race continues into the last half hour. The Ferraris are being called in. The Surtees Bandini car, now third, is followed in by the lead Ferrari, driven by Scarpiati and Vaccarella. There's some typically Ferrari histrionics before they're sent out with the drivers who will complete the race. Scarpiati and Vaccarella are first now. Parks Maglioli second. Surtees Bandini third. And the Holbert McDonald Cobra fourth, first GT. The lead car is in. The stop is officially listed as driver consultation and clutch trouble. But an anxious Scarpiati seems to be purposely held in the pits, while Parks takes the lead. It's a 50-second lead with just under 3 laps remaining. In complete command from the beginning, the Ferrari manager has apparently decided who shall be his winning car and driver. And Mike Parks takes Jesse Coleman's checker to lead the Ferrari Blitz. Parks and co-driver Maglioli share the winner's spoils. Scarpiati and Vaccarella were second. John Surtees and co-driver Bandini third. But of greatest delight to the crowd was the tremendous Cobra performance. True to his hopes, Carroll Shelby whipped the Ferrari GTOs, taking the manufacturer's championship lead at the same time. Holbert and McDonald led the GT winners and placed fourth overall, 5 laps behind the winning Ferrari. Chris Economaki talks with Parks.
When did you take the lead?
Well, it was about 20 minutes from the end, I think. It was very much a matter of touch and go because I didn't know whether the other car had to make one more stop or not. And so we were both going pretty well hammer and tongs right until the end.
You just have a big smile. This is your biggest victory in racing, is it not?
Yes, it is. It's the first time I've won one of the major races.
And how is your co-driver Umberto over there? Congratulations, Umberto.
Thank you. Thank you.
And with a victorious Bob Holbert.
Bob, congratulations. You got a big smile, another victory for you. How'd the car perform?
Oh, fine, Chris. It didn't miss a beat all day. Except we really had a steam bath during the day. It was pretty hot.
I noticed you made some modifications on it for bathing purpose. What did you do?
Oh, we just put a few vents in it to get a little more air into the car. We were actually, we had a steam bath and massage all at the same time earlier today.
The Bezzetta Pond Porsche won GT Division 2. GT Division 1 went to the Abarth of Diaz, Fleming, and Linton. The Cunningham Underwood Porsche 904, the highest finisher behind Ferrari and Cobra.
Well, that 64 Sebring race was representative of the times. The unbeatable Ferraris wrote one more chapter in the long success story of Enzo's blood red race cars. The Americans, led by the innovative Carroll Shelby, kept the heat on. Today, of course, the scene at Sebring is a great deal different. Ferrari, committed to Grand Prix racing, is represented by a single car in the GTO class. The British Jaguars have joined the battle in a big way, and totally unheard of, in 1965, the Japanese names, Nissan and Toyota, now figure prominently in the history of one of America's great races, the 12 Hours of Sebring. I'm Dave Despain. Thanks for joining us.
The response, I think, to this year's race was terrific. I think the American public, with the introduction of American-powered cars and American-built cars now, is really beginning to flock to these races.
It was an American day for the first time in a long series of the 12-hour grind.